Hi, I'm Dr. Elliot Adam from ElliotOracle.com. I'm also the author of the best-selling Fearless Tarot and Tarot in Love, Consulting the Cards and Matters of the Heart. Both books are published by Llewellyn Books, and they're online wherever books are sold, and it is time for this week's Oracle. So earlier on my social media, I placed up a photo of three different animals and asked you to use your intuition and just ask yourself which animal seems to be calling to you, because that animal has your message. And the three animals this week are the otter, the snake, and also the hawk. So if you're just joining me now, ask yourself which animal seems to be calling to you because that animal has your message. And just a second. And my fish wants to ask you which tarot card you think I'm dressed as this Halloween. So if you can write that in the comments, it might be a bit fun. So without any more rude interruptions, let's go into our first animal spirit, which is the otter. So if you're attracted to the otter this next week, the otter is the archetype of playfulness. We can even see them playing on this card. The otter can tell you not to take life so seriously. And the otter also moves with a flexibility beneath the waves. The otter's also associated with the divine feminine or feminine medicine. And in some Native American traditions, the otter is really associated with women quite a bit. So if you're attracted to the otter, this could be a time to delve into your own femininity or to seek answers from the divine feminine. But I just feel as well, this is a week to loosen up, to not take things too seriously. So the first card we're going to go into for the otter is where is it best for you to place your focus? And we get the Queen of Pentacles reversed. Now, when the Queen of Pentacles comes up reversed, that little rabbit that's normally at the bottom of her card in the bottom corner is now at the top. And that rabbit can represent anxiety, nervous energy. And normally the Queen of Pentacles upright is very productive, practical, focused on her long-term goals. But when she comes up reversed, she can indicate that there's some anxiety going on right now. And so I kind of feel this energy of feeling a little bit blocked from this card. And I was just talking about the otter being about the divine feminine or divine feminine energy that can really be helpful to you. But when Queen of Pentacles comes up reversed, she can indicate some of that divine feminine energy that's based on fertility or growth may feel stifled or blocked, especially by your own fear or anxiety about a future that hasn't happened yet. Today, I think this is an important card for you to stop and to identify what fears are lurking in the shadows and motivating you. What things are you talking yourself out of, in other words, that you want to build toward or succeed at? But that anxious voice or that anxiety is just like, what if I can't do it? What if I fail? What if this thing goes wrong? What if that goes wrong? This is a card that really tells you to focus on what's real. That earth element of the pentacle suit can really help you get grounded, but you have to focus on the thing at hand practically. The second card is going to be advice from your inner wisdom if you're attracted to the otter. And we get the Eight of Wands. And the Eight of Wands is a unique card in the tarot because in the Rider-Waite-Smith deck, it's the only card that doesn't show a person or a symbolic part of a person on the card. We just see these 8 wands streaking through the air at breakneck speed. There's an impartial quality to this card. And what I mean by that is that the advice from your inner wisdom could be to not personalize everything, to not take everything through the lens of your emotions, or better yet, through the lens of your anxiety as you interpret what's before you, but to detach. Also, the Eight of Wands shows those 8 wands are in alignment. They're like arrows, all about to strike their target. So this could be a week where you're really needing to get organized in your own thinking. There's also momentum, and you're going to want to move with events and not move against them. The Eight of Wands can indicate for you that this is a marvelous time for you to really succeed by getting focused on that goal and going toward it anyway, even if you have that anxiety. The Queen of Pentacles reversed with the Eight of Wands is saying, don't let the rabbit get the soapbox. Don't let the anxiety be the only thing you can hear about your opportunities. You almost want to detach from that emotion or that feeling and feel it later, but get going, get to doing something right now, get action. That's what's going to help lead toward your breakthrough. And the mythic archetype that's going to help you if you pick the otter is actually Uranus or Uranus, who is called the father in this deck. And he is the father of the gods. He's the Titan sky father. Uranus could be coming up for you at this time because you're needing to develop an idea that's going to be in the realm of the father. It might originate in the realm of the mother, the creative garden, the safe place. But pretty soon, you're going to have to boldly go out into the world and promote yourself or your idea. You might also need to go out into the cold, cruel external world and create change there, even if it's making you feel anxious about it. And yet, I feel like that balance between the mother and the father energy is so important with this otter message this next week. The divine feminine needs to be balanced with that divine masculine. But Uranus in astrology, Uranus, can also represent the rebel. He can represent the part of us that is going to rebel against the status quo. It's going to take innovative action, even if the external world isn't ready for it, or even if we don't feel ready for it. This is an archetype of revolution, getting rid of the old guard and bringing in something brilliant and new. And it's also very interesting if you're into astrology to check out what Uranus is doing in your own chart. Where is it transiting? What aspects is it making to other planets? And if you don't know, maybe you need to talk to an astrologer this next week. But I feel like Uranus or Uranus is going to be a really important planetary archetype to pay attention to. So that's the otter, but now let's go into our second animal, which is the snake. And the snake is the symbol of transformation. It sheds its skin. It lets go of the past, and the snake can also transmute all poisons from the past. If you're attracted to the snake, this could be a time where you're shedding the skins of the past, where you're really finding a way to identify yourself in a new way. Or you're maybe even redefining your role or what you're doing. I also feel for the snake that this is an archetype of wisdom, and there is wisdom through transformation. I feel like this is a time for you to evolve with things and not resist the necessary changes that are before you. First card for the snake is where is it best for you to place your focus this next week? And we see the other court card, Pentacles, royal figure in the King of Pentacles. But the King of Pentacles is upright. And for the snake, the best place for you to place your focus this next week is on the practical, long-term goals that you really want to see flourish. The King of Pentacles wears a robe decorated with grapes, and grapes take years for the vineyards to produce the sweetest grapes. So the King of Pentacles is the ultimate archetype of patience that pays off. He's also very practical, and he's also very successful in the realm of work, business, career, anything that is going to be under that purview this next week for you. It would be really wise for you to place your focus on that. The King of Pentacles is saying that you are capable and able. And also, this is a card of maturity and experience. So something that you've been developing, this might be a time for you to take your throne of leadership with. But I just feel like something prosperous, successful is being brought on by this King of Pentacles card. And when we couple that with the snake symbolism of shedding the skin of the past, allowing yourself to transform at this time, I think that that's going to be the message moving forward that can really help you prosper. The advice from your inner wisdom, if you pick the snake this next week, is the Three of Swords reversed. And when I see the Three of Swords upright or reversed, it feels like some major healing needs to happen. You don't need to be a genius tarot card reader to look at the Three of Swords and know that it means wounds to the heart, challenges that you might have endured emotionally. And yet when this card comes up reversed, it's really asking you to place your focus on your thoughts. The clouds, which are normally at the top of the card, are now at the base. And the clouds represent the element of air. They can represent your mind, your thoughts, your thought forms, or how you're thinking about the problems before you. But the Three of Swords reverse can also indicate that this is a time to interrupt thought forms that are just perpetuating some sort of trauma from the past that's blocking you from being prosperous or successful in the present and into the future. I feel like this is a time to transmute the poisons of the past. And some of this can be done through forgiveness, whether it's another person or even just forgiving yourself for whatever you think you've done or not done enough of. I feel like this is a time for you to open your heart and to allow it to heal. The Three of Swords can also represent, as the heart is upside down and the swords are upside down too, The swords could fall out of the heart as if by gravity alone. There is no handle that's interrupting them being released from the heart. And so I feel like this is a time for you to just let it go. Let go of the old narrative. Maybe you need to realize that the old thought forms that are keeping you in suffering or making you replay the past like old Norma Desmond movie reels isn't really going to be helpful to you this next week. And so, what you might need to do is allow yourself to let go of the old narrative and focus on how you can love yourself and the work that you're doing. Because there's a special light within you that is important work to do in this world. It's the whole reason you exist. And you cannot let the wounds that we all pick up over time prevent you from really stepping into your majesty with that King of Pentacles card. And the mythic archetype that is going to advise you this next week is actually Aries. And his card says battle because he's the god of war. He's also the god of conflict. And he's associated with Mars. And Mars in astrology is, again, that active action planet. I feel this card is saying two things to you. It's saying, number one, to pick your battles. That maybe you need to stop battling with yourself, battling with your past, battling with your own thought forms. Maybe you need to ally with yourself, form a peace treaty with that part of yourself that you've been in conflict with, and bring some resolution to that so that you can take an appropriate action toward the thing that's actually going to help you succeed. But I also feel the other message from Aries is that without conflict, there is no growth. That sometimes we can't just love and light things away. We have to face the challenge. We have to confront the thing that's difficult. And we have to be brave. And Aries can help you discover your bravery, discover the part of you that takes action, even when you're in the face of suffering from the past or fear of failure or the future. There is something that you need to get some skin in the game with, especially with what you're trying to succeed with. So I feel like action is going to lead towards success for you. And as Teddy Roosevelt used to say, get action. You need to get action at this time. You need to get moving, get going toward that thing. Stay so active that you are so many steps ahead of whatever the old narrative is that you don't even have time to think about it. I almost feel like you're just needing to get up and go. And then the final animal we're going to go into this next week is the hawk animal spirit. And the hawk is the messenger of the animal kingdom. The hawk sees all from high above, circling above, and gives us messages through signs, signals, or even omens. The hawk is also an archetype of detachment, of going to the higher angelic realms sometimes and looking at our life from that vantage point, because then we can see our full possibility. The first card for hawk is, where is it best for you to place your focus? And I feel like you're needing to look for messages within, because we get the Hermit card. And the Hermit is the archetype of going within, discovering your inner journey, your inner life. The Hermit is also a card of wisdom. And he is wisely going within to defrost the snow of his old frozen emotions and feelings. He's in a safe enough place of maturity and wisdom that he can bravely go into the dark places and shine the starlight on those parts and allow that snow to defrost. The Hermit can indicate for you that this is a time of ascension, ascending up the mountain of wisdom. And I also feel with the Hermit that there is going to be a quiet wisdom, quiet messages coming your way. It's when you find those quiet moments that you might hear an owl hooting outside, giving you direction as to what it's important for you to do. Or where you might even just get an intuitive flash, where your intuition speaks loudly and clearly within your ears, guiding you through the snow of your own emotional experience. But I feel with this Hermit card that it's time to slow down. This is an old man walking over ice with a cane, so he's not moving very fast. I feel like the messages for you are going to come when you dial it down and slow down just a bit. The advice from your inner wisdom, if you picked the hawk this next week, is the Page of Swords. And the Page of Swords can represent sometimes us deflecting from the deeper, quieter, wiser parts of ourselves. You know, of all the cards in the tarot, I find the Page of Swords to be one of the most intelligent. He's so brilliant. He's so quick and clever. He's witty in conversation. He's always able to turn the story around and deflect a potential threat and turn it over to somebody else who might be a potential attacker. And yet the Page of Swords is constantly on the defense. He is a page, meaning he's got a lot of growing to do. And yet he's stunted in his growth because he's not allowing anything in that will emotionally make an impact on him. He's thinking that the realm of logic and practical thinking is the way to solve every life problem. And yet that Hermit card is saying there's a deeper way, a way of maturity that comes from wisdom, which in turn comes from experience. And so your inner wisdom is advising you not to thwart the deeper, wise sage within you by just trying to cling on to making mental sense of everything right now. Sometimes what happens to us in life doesn't make mental sense, and we have to reconcile with that thing by maybe approaching that challenge from a different vantage point, from the vantage point of the wise hermit within. But I also feel with the Page of Swords, there is the sense of like allowing things in emotionally. That's going to be so important. Getting quiet, not constantly staying busy with your mind, but really slowing down and listening to the wiser part of yourself. It almost feels for the hawk that this next week you have these two opposite archetypes that could take the steering wheel of your own consciousness this next week. One is that wise hermit who is going to be thoughtful and proceed a little bit more gingerly, a little bit more tenderly. And the other's the Page of Swords, which is going to make a quick snap judgment about things and maybe even deal with things in a less than mature way this next week. And I just feel like the Hermit is going to be the best way forward. And then the mythic archetype that's going to help you this next week, appropriately if you pick the hawk, is Hermes. And Hermes is the messenger of the gods. He is associated with hawks. You know, they are an animal archetype that could be linked to him. And yet that sign and signal and message, meaning of the hawk and of Hermes is so clear. It's also very interesting that each of the three animal spirits, they have an astrological equivalent. And in the case of Hermes, the equivalent is Mercury. And so if you're into astrology, see what Mercury is doing in your chart. What aspects is it making? How is it transiting? And, with the last animal, what's Mars doing? But I feel like there are messages, there are little signs or signals that are trying to get your attention. And I feel like you might want to consult an astrologer or consult your own astrology to see what's going on with your transits, what's going on in your chart. But also Hermes can represent just those epiphanies, those moments of, aha, that's it, I got it. And so I feel like the universe is going to be communicating with you this next week. And you need to apply that hermit wisdom where you're open to the message, where you see the wisdom even in the way the snow is melting and the shape it makes, rather than just thinking that everything has a logical explanation, because not everything does. So I feel like there is a widening of your problem-solving abilities this next week if you're attracted to the hawk. And I also feel there are signs and signals and messages and travel and movement also ahead for you, which are going to bring great excitement. And those are the three animals. But before you go, I do have one final card for the collective for everybody to take as a message for the week ahead. But before I get into that, I just want to thank you for joining me. And if this video does resonate with you, please do like, subscribe, and share the video with a friend. It really does help YouTube know that you find this content engaging. Also, if you want to know more, you can always go to my website about any tarot card. You can Google it, and I have free meanings for all the cards. Just type in Elliot, Page of Swords, Elliot, the Hermit, and you'll get a full description there. And also, if you like my style of reading, you can schedule a one-on-one tarot session with me at elliotoracle.com as well. I'd love to see what my cards have to say about you and your own particular situation. So without further ado, let's go into our final card, which is for the collective, for everybody. And the card we get here is the Six of Cups reversed. Now, upright or reversed, the Six of Cups is the card of the past. But when it comes up reversed, it can indicate the less pleasant parts of the past. And this has been a message with several of the animals this week, that there is this danger of an old narrative sort of taking the soapbox and really guiding your perspective of what you think is possible for you. When the Six of Cups comes up reversed, it's saying it's time to bring closure to the past. It's time to stop looking at your life through the narrative of, well, it's always been like that, so I guess it's always going to be like that moving forward. Change is in the air when the Six of Cups comes up reversed. The old past narrative is getting interrupted. And I do feel that things are shifting unconsciously in the world around you. The energy is about to shift. The pendulum is swinging the other way. And yet, you cannot get on the pendulum ride to the opposite side if you're stuck and rusted in that past experience. And so I do feel like this is a card that's saying it's time to become fluid. It's time to move on from the past narrative. But I also feel with Six of Cups reversed, it's time to bring some closure to yourself. It's time to maybe allow those emotions to flow that you might be feeling some grief for, or you might have been trying to stay a step ahead of because you're so afraid that if you start feeling that, it's never going to stop. I'll just tell you right now, it will stop. And you do have to feel your feelings sometimes because that dislodges them. It prevents that feeling from becoming a blockage for you, which then dictates how much you can actually do in your life. And so I feel this is an important week for you to feel your feelings and maybe even feel those feelings you've put on ice. Bring closure to them. And know that once you feel that emotion, it's going to loosen its stranglehold on you. It's going to feel cathartic, and you'll finally be able to let that go. I feel like going into the past, it could be a really healing journey for you. If you can recognize that where your power truly is in the present. It's right now. It's in this moment. Doesn't matter what happened to you before. Doesn't matter what might happen to you later. You get to choose now what you're going to do with all that information. What are you going to do with all the wisdom you gained? And if there is something painful, well, that has given you great wisdom as well. Even in pain, we find things that really help us develop and become stronger. It just depends on how we utilize that information, that experience. So I feel like you're going to want to draw upon the past to help you strengthen yourself. And that is finally this week's Oracle. I do hope you enjoyed it. And I do wish you all a very happy Halloween. And please be safe for the holiday. I am off to Greece pretty soon. I'm going to try to make another video for the next week. But I'm going to be posting some pictures and videos on my social media. I'm finishing up the book that's going to accompany my Greek tarot deck about Greek mythology. So I'm super excited to share that all with you this next year. So again, thank you for your great support. Please like, subscribe, all that good stuff. It really does help out my channel, and I can't thank you enough for it. So gratefully yours. Everybody out there, do take care.